Welcome to the What's Your Grind podcast. This is your host, Keith Burrows. We made it past episode 1. This week, we are talking to Dr. Reverend Wilson Bunton, owner of the I Am Necessary brand and W.C. Bunton Ministries. We'll also talk to him about his work in the community as a public figure and a public speaker. And also, we'll have some really good conversations about faith. Make sure you tune into the podcast. You can catch us on YouTube, also on my Facebook business channel. We are in the process of building iGrindNationPodcast.com, so you'll be able to look at all of the episodes in the same place. I want to thank our sponsors for this week, which is Kamel Clothing. Kamel Clothing is the sponsor for this week. Make sure you hit up kamel.net for these wonderful clothes, and we'll actually get a chance to speak with him in the future as well. So tune in and we'll see you at the podcast. I want to shout out our sponsors for this week. I Am Necessary, the clothing brand. Also WCBuntonMinistries.com. Visit WCBuntonMinistries.com to catch up with Dr. Wilson Bunton and also purchase from his I Am Necessary apparel brand. Thank you. iGrindNation podcast. What's your grind like? What's your grind like? What's your grind like? What you grind like? What's your grind like? What's your grind like? What you grind like? What's your grind like? What's your grind like? What you grind like? What's your grind like? What's your grind like? What you grind like? What's your grind like? What's your grind like? What you grind like? What's your grind like? What's your grind like? What you grind like? Man, I can't believe we made it to episode 2. Man. Shout out the production team, Keith Saunders in the background doing this thing. Welcome to the What's Your Grind podcast, episode 2, with your host, Keith Burrows. I have the esteemed pleasure of having Dr. Wilson Bunton here with me today. Dr. Wilson Bunton is an author. He owns a clothing brand and also his ministry, W.C. Bunton Ministries. So we're definitely going to get into all of that. But how you doing, Doc?
I'm well, man. I'm well. I can't complain. You know?
Yeah, it's good to see you here. And not, for you guys that don't know at home, me and Wilson speak just about every single day. So, you know, I'm acting like I don't know him right now, interviewing him, but I know this man very well. But we are here today to talk about your businesses and the impact that your businesses have on the world, on people. My first question to you is, can you give us the journey of how you established W.C. Bunton Ministries, and how have this ministry impacted your life?
Okay, so W.C. Bunton Ministries.
Mm-hmm.
W.C. means Wilson and Christina.
Shout out Christine, Miss
Shout
Tina
out,
Bunton.
yeah, gotta give a shout out to my baby. So W.C. Bunton, Wilson and Christina Bunton Ministries, because not only is it a ministry, it's a relationship. So W.C., me and my wife, we've been married for 37 years. So that within itself is a relationship that we put together, and a lot of people have asked us, "Yo, man, like, what do y'all do to keep this thing going? Like, how did y'all meet? You know?" And I got honestly, I really got tired of telling people how we met, what it takes to keep the relationship going, and then all of a sudden, I decided to write a book. So if you want to know how we met, if you want to know what it takes to keep the relationship going, get the book.
I was about to go right into that too. So you're also an author.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on that. And first off, tell the people the title of the book, and you get kind of set the backstory, the backdrop of the reason why you wrote the book. But let everybody know the name of the book and the significance of this book.
Well, the book is entitled "The Woman You Call Life." So the W is there, the woman you call wife, which everybody said that's wifey, whatever. I took the W out and put L there. So now she's not only your wife, she becomes your life. Mm-hmm. And when you say life, that's your everything. That's the air you breathe. The life is your existence, your entire being. So that woman is my existence. That woman is my breath, the air I breathe.
And how long were you married?
37 years.
37 years. You hear that, guys? 37 years married. Tell me about how you started the I Am Necessary brand.
So the I Am Necessary brand came about in a dream that I had. I had a dream that I was homeless, and I had this sign. I held this sign up, and in the sign, I wrote the sign that says "I am necessary," and people would walk by and look at it, and some people would say, I would hear them say, "I am necessary," and I would say, "Yes, you are."
Uh-huh.
And they would come by and put $1, some change or whatever in my cup. And for some reason, something woke me up. And I said, wow, that was a really serious dream. So I wrote it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I pondered on it for years, many, many years, because
we had conversations about it for a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I said, I don't know what came about with this dream, but this I am necessary is just on my brain.
So while we're on the topic of being necessary, can you define the concept of necessity and why it's important for people to recognize their significance of being necessary?
Well, necessary is a state of being accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Necessary means I'm here, I'm present, I am important. So when people see that I am necessary, and I hear them talking, because they'll read my shirt and say I'm necessary, and I'll turn around and say, yes, you are.
Uh-huh.
And it strikes up a conversation, which allows me to, at that point, minister.
Creates dialogue.
Yeah. So every time I see someone and I walk past, they say, "Oh, I like that shirt. I am necessary." I'll turn around and say, "Yes, you are." And then, the conversation, because listen, you don't know what people are going through, and this saying could be something positive. Somebody could wake up in the morning and say, "You know what? I'm just going to go downtown and blow the mall up. I'm just going to shoot everybody in the mall." You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they could walk past and see this shirt, say, "I'm necessary," and I'll say, "Yes, you are." That could turn their thought pattern could say, "You know what? That dude, he actually made my day." That's why I always say that it's so important when you see people, you speak to them, give them a nod or whatever. That goes a long way, man, because someone needs that hello.
You're absolutely right. And that kind of goes right into my next question for you is, if you can share some instances where your ministry and your brand proved to be helpful to someone to uplift and empower.
So yeah, I can go on for days with that, but there's times where I go to a place and I sell my product, and there's people that walk up to my table and this one Caucasian gentleman, brother, he came to my table and he stood there and he was like, yeah, I really like this man. And, and he started talking and I could tell that he was fishing for something, So I said, yeah. I said, I have the hats, I got the Scully hats, the baseball caps, the T-shirts, sweatshirts, and long sleeve T-shirts. And he said, yeah, man. He said, I'm going through something right now, and he said, and I don't know what to do. And I said, well, he said, I don't even know why I came here, man. He said, I never come to Cowtown. I don't never come up here. He said, I live right down the street, but I don't know why I came here. I said, you came here to see me. He said, what? I said, your purpose for getting up this morning was to come and see me. And he's like, well, I don't understand. I said, well, let me talk to you for a minute. And I began to tell him, some things that he may be experiencing, because you could look at somebody and tell they're going through some things,
Yeah.
So I started talking with him and ministering to him and letting him know, listen, man, this is not it for you. This is not it for you. Yeah, you've been through the battles. You've been through some things. I said, but those things that you went through was not for you. They were for you to experience, so you could tell somebody else that they can make it through it. And he started crying. He said, man, he said, nobody's never talked to me like this. I said, listen, young man. I said, anytime I gave him my phone number, and I said, listen. I said, there's some things that you went through. I said, you always say, that you wanted to you want to be stronger in your faith and this and that. The way you get stronger, if you go to the gym, you got to work out.
You gotta work at it, yeah.
And it's going to hurt. Your muscles going to hurt for a few days, but it'll recuperate and you right back at it again.
That's right.
I said, so in order for you to make it through something, you got to go through something. And what you went through with was for a purpose.
So, what are the future goals for first for WC Bunton Ministries, and then how are you going to, what's your plan on expanding the I Am Necessary clothing brand? And before you even answer that, good brother, let's talk about the I Am Necessary brand. So currently you have hats, shirts, you have sweatsuits,
yeah.
You have scarves, hoodies, Scullies. Anything else you guys have right now?
Right now, that's it for right now.
And if someone wanted to purchase one of your products, where would they find it?
On my website, www.wcbuntonministries.com.
Okay. So you hear that. You can purchase the I Am Necessary brand at www.wcbunton, BUNTON, ministries.com.
Yeah.
Also, please be mindful that, running a small business is not the easiest thing. So support is very important. And it's something that we're stressing for everybody. So today we're happy to say that WC Bunton Ministries is a sponsor for this episode. Mm-hmm. And the I Am Necessary brand is too. So yeah, let me know what's in store for your future for the WC Bunton Ministries brand and your I Am Necessary clothing brand.
So the WC Bunton Ministries and I Am Necessary, we're getting ready to launch a few things.
Okay.
There's a couple colleges that I'm getting ready to speak at.
Oh, very nice.
And one of the brothers that I grew up with, he's the basketball coach for HBC school.
Okay.
And he asked me to come and speak to his team, as well as some of the other athletes that, that go to the school. And I told him that I would love to do that,
Yeah, motivational speaking is
Absolutely.
So important. You have so much wisdom to impart to this the following generations. let everybody know, like, you are a doctor, and congratulations on that.
Thank
by
you.
the way,
Appreciate it.
congratulations
A
on
lot
it.
of
By
work,
the way,
man.
listen, put some respect on this man's name. This is Dr. Wilson Bunton, and so doing motivational speaking to youngsters is a valuable asset for everyone. So I applaud you for that. Well, what's next for I Am Necessary, your clothing brand?
Well, I'm getting ready to do some stitch hoodies.
Okay, so you're coming out with embroidery. All right.
So that's in the works. I got a few things working on with that. Yeah, man, it's just, I just want to get this message across the world. Because everybody needs to know that they are necessary. There's a lot of people that are walking around right now that have no clue of where they are. They're there, but they don't know where they are. I mean, you drive down the street, you see people on the corners, and they have no clue. But
That's true.
If they could understand that they are necessary, listen, I tell every time I speak to somebody homeless and I give them something, I say, listen, man, where you from? Or young lady, where you from? And then they would tell me, most of them are from far away.
Yeah.
They're running, but what are you running from? It's going to follow you wherever you go. Listen, I heard this preacher talk, man, and he was preaching me versus me. And listen, the conversations that are going on in our heads, bro. You listen. You got one side of you saying, "Nah, man, don't do that. Don't do that." And then you got 5 personalities on the other side saying, "Man, don't listen to him. Go ahead and do it.
Go on and do it." Yeah.
Me versus me. So it's like, who do you listen to? Which one do you listen to? So, as I begin to tell the people that I speak with, I said, listen, your mom might be looking for you, or your dad may be looking for you. Nah, they not. You don't know that. Reach out to them. You may be surprised if you call your parent. They may be looking for you.
Right.
You won't have to stand out here on these streets and ask for money. But
so that's a valuable point. There's a lot of people that have housing insecurities that are going through a wealth of problems, and they need to understand how necessary they are as well. They need to feel that.
Yeah.
It's funny because we're transitioning into this next part where it says what role does faith play in your work with W.C. Bunton Ministries and the I Am Necessary brand, and how does it influence the messages you share and the initiatives that you overtake?
So faith, and I always tell you this, bro. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. So this brother right here, 10 years ago, made the biggest walk of faith that I've ever seen in my entire life. And here I am talking to people and preaching to people, telling me you need to step out on faith. And this brother walked up, I met him, and we vibed, and we did some music and stuff together. And here he is. He's like, yeah, man, listen, I like where I'm at, but this is not it for me. And he walked. Yeah. For me, that's an act of faith. When you don't see nothing, when you don't see how you're going to make it, but that little thing in the back of your head said, do it anyway. Why? Because there's something in it. There's something in it. But there's going to be some backlash.
It's always a backlash.
It's going to be a lot of backlash.
There's always backlash. So what Dr. Bunton is referring to, we were both working at a job. And it was a good job. I mean, if we're talking in terms of money, it was a great job. But there was just something in the bottom of my stomach that told me that I can do something else more impactful.
You forgot you had just got promoted.
Yeah. Yeah, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I didn't want to. I could do it, but I didn't want to do it.
Right.
And it was definitely one of the biggest faith walks of my life.
Yeah.
To step away from a job, and have enough faith to know that we were going to
flourish.
make it.
Yeah.
And we did, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's awesome when people know you and can do that.
Yeah.
Can pull a story out like that and say, hey, listen, I remember when you did that.
Yeah. And I was looking like, yo, you all this time you was going back and forth with the people in the office about this promotion, and they give him the promotion and he walks out.
That's crazy.
That's amazing though.
Man,
that taught me something, bro.
That was a long time ago.
That taught me something, man. Listen,
I'm sorry, y'all.
that taught me. Say, listen, is your faith really real? You represent me, but is your faith really real? You talk a good game, but what's up? Man, listen, I look up to you for that, bro. I really do. And I tell you that all the time.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. So question. All right. Next question is, how can individuals get involved with your ministry and in spreading positivity? Like, one thing I know about you from speaking to you every day is that constant flow of positivity. Constant motivational, it's like hearing a motivational speech every day. And when you get that on a daily basis, it changes you. Right. It changes how you think. It changes your approach. How can other people share that with you?
Well, communication. My line is open. The social medias. We can connect through social media. My phone line is open. There's no secret to what I have and what I do. I'm always available.
Have you faced any challenges along the way? I know that your passion is rooted within being a spiritual leader. And your platform, WC Bunton Ministries, you and your wife are amazing at what you do. You counsel couples.
Yes.
You speak to the youth.
Yeah.
You two are out in the community in ways that people don't even know, And so what message do you have for people? What's your core agenda for people?
The core agenda, the root agenda is just love everybody. Have a positive mind. Listen, it's not as bad as it looks. It's not as bad as it seems. You can make it from that. But you got to get up.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get up. Listen, I talked to this lady the other day, and she was just crying, like she's going through this stuff, and when I talked to her, I was letting her know, first of all, you got to do something about the baby. The baby's crying in the background. I'm trying to talk to you about, some business that you have in my office, but you got to, And she took care of the baby, and then I began to tell her. She's like, "But Wilson, I have 2 degrees, and my husband walked out on me. He left me for a younger woman, and I've never worked because I was a home wife, and I said, "You have 2 degrees?" She said, "Yes, and I have 2 children, and I've never worked before." I said, "And your husband did all the work, and he has all the money?" She's like, "Yes." I said, "Have you decided to take him to court?" She's like, "No, I didn't want." I said, hold up. First of all, with 2 degrees, you can go get a really good job, but you got to want to work. So I talked to her, and I talked to her mom, And like 2 or 3 days after that, man, her and her mom ended up calling me up saying, I really appreciate you for what you did. You talked my daughter out of wanting to do crazy things to herself and her children. And my job was basically to help you. I didn't do it for accolades. I did it because I felt that there was something there that needed to be said. So long story short, she called me 2 weeks ago and said that, she appreciated me. She just got a job making $150,000 a year, and she's taking her ex-husband to court for child support.
Okay, 150.
And
yeah, that's good.
But she would have never got that job if I didn't call her phone.
Right. So it's the motivational aspect, the aspect of letting people know that there's more.
Right.
And to get more, you have to get up sometimes and go get it. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's not going to come knock on your door. You got to go after it.
So, do you have a message for like kids, teenagers, perhaps?
Yes, they are necessary too.
Yeah.
And not only for the kids, the parents who have teenagers. The kids that are of today's generation really got it tough, bro. Like the peer pressure that they have to go through,
social media,
is rough.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it's like it ain't like when we grew up. When we grew up, I'm a little older than you, but
I mean, it's still a very different time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like we didn't have computers and all that kind of stuff. We played outside, and we fought outside, and we were playing the next day.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't like the kids today. You got kids, little kids walking around with guns in their backpack. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's not necessary.
So how can we start to spark change within our urban communities? Say, for instance, you have a young man or young woman who think that they need to carry a firearm for safety.
I think outreach is necessary.
Sure.
Outreach is very necessary. Like, we need to start hosting some outreach programs, in the park sessions.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, because we do music, so we
have studio.
Host a concert out in the urban communities and let them know. Listen, we here.
Yeah, we actually are working on a couple of programs behind the scenes with our nonprofit organization, Genuine Foundation, to engage and stimulate the minds of teenagers. So yeah, that's something we'll definitely talk more about. Well, you already know, but yeah, that's something that'll be coming forward from us in a little bit. Listen, it's nothing but a pleasure.
Bro.
You are a friend of this show. You are literally setting the pace for the What's Your Grind podcast.
Appreciate it.
And man, listen, I love you. I love your family. Shout out your son.
We love you too.
And this is something that we're going to be doing much often. So I'm gonna wrap this episode of What's Your Grind, episode 2. I'm your host, Keith Burrows, and we have Dr. Wilson Bunton, author, motivational speaker, and brand owner of the I Am Necessary brand. Do hit up www.wcbuntonministries.com. Do more than show your support. Make a purchase on there.
Appreciate it.
All right.